Tell you who's not excited for NXT. Chris fucking Jericho.
I'm not shocked by this at all, honestly. Um because it's Chris Jericho. And so are you pulling up the actual quotes?
I am.
Okay. So before we get into that, as you're finding them,
Yeah.
I read the two of like the main quotes that people were talking about. And kind of like what you said about Mark Henry earlier. People were like, okay, well, you can't take him too seriously because he works for AEW. So of course he's going to come out and defend that company and put down WWE, blah, blah, blah. But even when things weren't as contentious as they are right now because of the recent head to head, Jericho has been shitting on WWE basically since he joined AEW.
Yeah.
And hardcore too. I mean, even like spilling stuff about like Vince McMahon that people didn't really know about and like whatever. So this didn't surprise me. It just felt like the latest chapter in the book of hatred for the company that made Chris Jericho.
Well, yeah.
But I also think what he said was ridiculous. So
Yeah. So the quote is, because there's two of them.
yeah.
He speaking with the messenger. He said, "So WWE, don't get too far up your own ass because you didn't do that good of a job as far as crushing us, and our show was better than theirs, quite frankly. So it doesn't bother me." And then he goes into more detail saying, you can only bring in Cena and Undertaker and Cody and everybody else so much because nobody wants to work on their secondary show all the time. And it was a fun little, hey, F you, AEW. I didn't even really worry about it. Jericho also argued that it was just an opportunity to stick it to us with stunt casting and revealed he tried convincing Tony Khan to go tit for tat with some AEW affiliated celebrities. I told Tony, well, if you want to fire back, bring in Shaq and Snoop Dogg and those type of guys. Mike Tyson, but Tony didn't do that. We relied on our show and our guys and girls, and that's the way it's always been for us.
I have so much to say about all of that. First of all, the celebrities that he named, I want to be like, honey, they were WWE affiliated way before they were AEW affiliated. Are we going to forget that Snoop Dogg was at this year's WrestleMania?
They
Like, you
made a
want?
title for Snoop Dogg that's gold. I
I
like.
know.
What do you
So
want?
I'm like, but when you think of Snoop Dogg, you think of AEW? No, the fuck you don't. Like, I'm not saying you think of WWE either, but let's not say we're like, I was just saying 6 months ago, we're 6 months removed from him being in the middle of the ring doing, a people's elbow to the Miz. Like, we're
Saving the
not,
segment where
yeah.
Shane McMahon like tore his quads. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you got Snoop Dogg, nobody would be changing the channel. And that's the thing. Bring out the celebrities. Who the fuck is changing NXT from seeing Undertaker, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Asuka to go see Shaq or Snoop Dogg or Mike Tyson on AEW? Who's changing the channel?
Mike Tyson's a part of DX. All right.
I know
People really forget
that's
that.
what I mean. All three of them were affiliated with WWE, so like you're him labeling them as like AEW affiliated celebrities, like you're grasping. Like, is that why it's like, is this a troll? Are your comments a troll? Because it makes no sense. And then of course he's just regurgitating things that Tony Khan said that was like, well, our show is better. Well, if it was better, then it would have said that in the viewership. So no. And like I said, they just need to take this as an L. Just like use it as a measuring stick, as I said in our video when we were breaking all of this down about Tony's meltdown. Just recognize where your company is and that they are not in a position to pull off the same stuff that WWE can, that you
Yeah.
do not have legends of your company because it's not been around for even 10 years. And
Yeah.
like you're saying, he ends it with like, oh, I wasn't really worried about it. You're talking about it like nearly 2 weeks later, so yeah, you are worried about it. Like,
Yeah. To me, the whole thing is a moot point. Like all of it's a moot point because from a unbiased standpoint, it was a good show. AEW put on a very good show on that title Tuesday. All right,
mm-hmm.
for what they have with their roster, and they are doing a very good job with their roster. The problem is you are not established and don't have the longevity and tenure, any other word you want to throw in there, that WWE has, that they can pull these cards of Undertaker, John Cena, Asuka, Cody Rhodes, whatnot, to really elevate your ratings and elevate talent, which that's why WWE is WWE. And AEW, what makes them AEW is they're different in the feuds wise and the stars that they have, and the more real, I would say, more like realistic type of feuds, and like more hard. I don't know really how else to put it.
It's
but
because they're so less scripted that they're able to kind of just talk, which sounds, I guess, maybe a little bit more organic and natural.
Organic is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It's more of an organic, feel where you
Which
don't feel
again
like
is a
you're watching
double-edged sword.
cinema. Oh, it's
It's
an
a
absolute
double-edged
double-edged sword.
Yeah, because some of them need scripts. Hi, Adam Copeland.
Yeah,
Just saying.
that was really bad.
But it also with Jericho that is confusing to me is like, I believe that he has said in the past that there was like no bad blood between him and WWE, and that when he left it was just like whatever, like there wasn't.
It's the next stage of my career.
Yeah, and that's from what I remember, that's what he said. So that's why it's really confusing to me that he continues to do this, and I'm wondering if there's just some sort of like inner hatred for Triple H or something, and that's why he has been doing this, because he speaks about Vince McMahon very highly. Even recently, like I saw an interview
lot
with
of
him.
AEW guys do. A lot of the older veterans of AEW
Yeah,
speak very highly. Matt Hardy really speaks highly of Vince on his podcast.
and so that's why, and Jericho has maintained that as well. Like I said, even recently, because I saw a clip of him on a podcast talking about Vince. And so I'm like really confused. I mean, it would make sense if it's some sort of issue with Triple H directly, because that was the basis for a lot of Cody's aggression when he was in AEW. I mean, he targeted Triple H specifically. He didn't even really like, I mean, the throne and the sledgehammer and all of that wasn't at Vince. You know what I mean? And obviously, I do think Cody's aggression was misplaced, because Triple H didn't really like, he's not the one that made you be Stardust and whatever. But I'm wondering if guys like Jericho, if that is more of what the underlying factor is for why they keep just talking and talking and talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, people have been talking about putting Jericho in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I'm like, if you keep this up, then why should they? Like, you constantly disrespect the company, like, and it's not just because you're trying to hype up the company you're in. Like, you're taking shots at them in the middle of like July, and nothing's been happening. So